But the cook is so perfect when you do that reverse sear, I think. It's just money.
I think so too. And it's a great way just to nail the doneness. You're not going to overcook it that way. And that's one of my fears with cooking fillets. And some people say I eat them too rare. You know, I've had comments on there like, oh, that's blue. That's not. But that's how I like to eat my fillet. I don't want it overcooked because when you overcook it, the texture changes on and it gets kind of dry. And then it's just, why even eat fillet? I might as well be eating sirloin or something if you take it that far. You're missing out on what the fillet is all about. It should be 8 on the rare to medium rare side.
Welcome to Malcom Reed's How to Barbecue Right, a podcast where we talk about barbecue, share recipes, and discuss all things delicious. And now, here's your host, Malcolm and Rochelle Reed.
Hey, welcome back to the How to Barbecue Right podcast. I'm your host, Malcolm Reed, and I'm joined by my Valentine, Miss Southern Shell over there, sitting across from me. How you doing, baby?
Good.
All right. I've got Tyler on the board today, as usual.
It's cold here.
Man, it's done. We had a fall spring. I knew that was going to happen.
I knew it was too.
We had some almost 80 degrees last week.
It was so nice.
Little buttercup things are starting to sprout up everywhere. Grass is green, and now it's cold and rainy. That's typical February for us.
Super Bowl was last weekend.
It was. I wouldn't say it's the best game, but it's kind of the outcome I wanted to see.
Yeah.
You know.
It was.
What was your take?
It was almost sad. I mean, I was cheering for the Eagles, but it was almost sad watching the Chiefs just be that bad.
Can't do nothing. That shows you what them big nasties on that line can do. The big guys. That was a game for the big guys. They dominated. The offensive line dominated. The Chiefs weren't ready. I knew when they did that tush push at the goal line and then Chris Jones come up holding his neck at the end of it. I was like, oh, that line's whooping him. And he's the best player they got on defense.
He was crying on the sidelines toward the end.
Oh, was he?
Yeah.
Couldn't do nothing. You know, they double, triple teamed him the whole game and just run off. I mean, they didn't really run over him because the only thing the Chiefs did good was slow down Saquon. And he didn't have a great game. I think he touched the ball like 20-plus times and had only like 56 yards or something. That's a way below average for him. But it wore him down.
And that defense.
And the defense, man.
What's the
Cooper?
Cooper.
Cooper DeJean?
Cooper DeJean. He's a superstar now.
He was a superstar. Dude, have you seen him play basketball? Oh, man, I've been seeing highlights of him playing basketball. I guess it was in high school or whatever. But that joker can dunk. I'm talking about from anywhere.
Really?
You would never expect that.
How tall is he?
He looks like he's 5'8".
Yeah.
I don't know, but he's got some ups. But, man, he's fast. When he got the ball, he was gone. And it wasn't going to keep him out of the end zone. I hadn't really been paying attention to that. I mean, I've heard people talk about him all year because they got another white boy on their team, too, that's playing defense.
They call him the Magnificent Whites or something like that. Yeah.
I don't know. That's crazy. But, man, the Eagles just dominated. Jalen Hurts had a great game.
It wasn't the best.
Mississippi's own A.J. Brown got a touchdown. That was good to see.
It wasn't the best Super Bowl, but
yeah,
it was there.
I didn't even mind Kendrick. I thought Kendrick's performance was pretty good. The only thing I noticed, I will say this: the NFL was preaching all this, anti-hate and all this, and then
the whole halftime
is about hate.
Hating on Drake,
hating on the government, hating on Drake, or hating on the man, I guess. But it was still good. It was still good. Good. I mean, I'm a Kendrick fan, so I'm a Drake fan too. Is that terrible to say?
I don't think so.
I can like music. I don't care what the people are,
I don't think you're getting tattoos of any of them either.
No.
I would say you're not that kind of fan.
No.
They're no Waylon Jennings, huh?
Yeah.
So this week, for your Valentine's Day recipe, you did shrimp and butter. What is shrimp?
I don't say I love
butter.
You. It's just a dish that says I love you, and I love butter.
I love you, and I love butter.
So shrimp and butter is that.
Is it a scampi? What is a shrimp scampi?
It's my version of a shrimp scampi, I guess. To me, a scampi is like a seafood. Most of the time it's shrimp cooked in a butter sauce, basically. Usually they stick it in there and put it under a broiler or something and cook it.
It's a dish with shrimp in a butter garlicky sauce with white wine and lemon.
Look at that. So I made shrimp scampi, didn't even know it. It's exactly what it was.
That's exactly what it
was. My version was way better than any shrimp scampi I've ever got.
So tell me about how you did shrimp and butter.
So here's what I did. I started with the 2-zone fire because you needed hot coals and you need a cool side. And the first thing is working on that butter sauce. I wanted to get it just all incorporated, get those flavors going. So when I grilled these shrimp and put them over in it, they were going to pick up all the flavors in the butter. So it's just not melted butter. Basically, I took a shallot, chopped it up real fine, minced up some garlic, chopped up some parsley, and half some lemons. I got my fire going on the Primo on the hot side. I just did charcoal, coal. I did roll up briquettes underneath it. You could use lump, whatever you wanted. Any grill would work. Just set it up for 2-zone. And I got my skillet. I used a cast iron enamel skillet to where it could take the heat. You just want to use something that's grill safe. And then I started with a little olive oil and sauteed those shallots. I gave them, it took 2-3 minutes just to start getting them soft, get a little color on them. Then I threw in the garlic, sweated that down a little bit, seasoned it with a little King Cross seasoning just to keep some like kind of Cajun-y flavors going. And then when that all cooked down and you had the little bit sticking on the bottom of the pan a little bit, I deglazed it with some white wine. And man, that was just like Behringer white. It wasn't nothing fancy.
Yeah, it was what we had.
Yeah, just a bottle of white wine. And deglaze that pan and then cook most of that wine down to where there wasn't a whole lot of liquid left. It cooks off all the alcohol. And what you're left with is those flavors from the wine mixing with the caramelized shallot and garlic and getting all those flavors going. Then I throw my butter in.
How much butter?
A whole pound. 4 sticks. And I use salted butter just to, have it some flavor. Let that cook down. Season it with a little more King Craw. Got that butter all meltedy, happy. And then hit it with some fresh lemon juice and some parsley, and then moved it over to the side of the grill that was cool. Now, I didn't close the grill lid after this. I pretty much left it up. I left the grill lid open the whole cook. I was letting that fire rock and roll. And it was getting pretty hot. And then I took my shrimp, and I bought them. They were colossal 13, 15 count raw Gulf shrimp, peeled. They weren't peeled. They had the shell. They were deveined, but I had to let them. They were froze, so I let them thaw out. And then I took all the shells and the tails off. You could leave all that on. I was
going to ask, could you leave all that on?
You could, but when you're eating shrimp, like whether it's New Orleans style barbecue shrimp or any kind of shrimp, do you like having to peel them?
No.
Or do you just want to be able to go in and eat it?
I like just being able to go.
I think so too. I don't like dishes where they leave the shell on the seafood like that. I understand with a crab, it's kind of hard, but
the only time I like them, the only reason I prefer them left on is because I feel like people overcook them when you take them off.
Yeah.
That I've noticed that they tend to get more overcooked, and I hate an overcooked shrimp.
They're tough.
So if you're doing it right, if you're cooking it right, the ideal way is shrimp off or shell off. Yeah.
And that's the whole trick with this recipe is it's a fast cook. You only want to cook the shrimp about 3/4 of the way done on the grill and then move them over to the hot butter mixture and let them finish in there. The total time the shrimp were on the grill may have been 5 minutes. It wasn't long.
Maybe less than that.
Maybe less than that. What I did, so I took olive oil, that's kind of my binder, and I put it all over the shrimp raw. And then I seasoned them with my offshore buttery seafood seasoning.
I think you use lemon juice too.
And a little bit of lemon. Yeah, a little bit of lemon over them. And so I kind of got all that worked in, and they weren't really marinating, but I did that as soon as I, started sweating down the vegetables and stuff. So they had some time to get in the seasoning. They're sitting in a pan over to the side. And then when I got that buttery mixture right, I moved it over, and I just took that pan that I had the shrimp in, all seasoned up, and dumped them on the grill, and then started spreading them out fast. By the time I started getting them spread out over those hot coals, you're getting some of that olive oil and the juices drip down. It's causing it to flame up. It's giving me some flavor. I start flipping those shrimp, and because they're going to start cooking really fast. They need about a minute on each side, and you'll notice them change from that raw look kind of to like an opaque white pink. They'll get that pinkish color on the outside, or that orangeness, start coming through like seafood does. That's when they're almost done. And so once one flip and then I start seeing that color change, that's when I start moving them one by one to the butter.
Why not cook them in the butter the whole time?
I wanted that grill flavor. You could, if you were doing the stovetop, you probably wouldn't have to sear them first if you didn't want to. You could just start them out in the butter and let them get happy. I've done them like that on the smoker, like from froze. Just throw them in a pan and let them go. I think they were way better and had way more flavor this way.
When you're standing there over the grill and filming and cooking and stuff, I think you smell the grill. So when you taste the shrimp, you don't get as prominent of a grill flavor.
Yeah.
But we reheated this. We had a bunch of shrimp left over, so we reheated it and ate it the next night. And you could really tell the grill flavor.
It tastes like you could tell each one of those shrimp had been grilled.
And it was really good.
It was mild, but it had a grill flavor. And with the butter and all the herbs and the shallot and the garlic and all that, man, it just tasted good. So once I got them all moved back to that butter, I just slid the cast iron skillet back over and let that butter get hot again where it's really bubbling. The shrimp are finishing cooking, then you just take them off. Hit them with a little bit more lemon juice and parsley, just kind of like a final garnish to give it a little flavor pop. And then I served it with some bread. I bought like those little French loaves, sliced them up, threw them in the oven, warmed them up just a little bit. I mean, what does it take? 12 minutes on like 400?
Yeah.
Not long. And you've got this warm bread that you dunk in that buttery goodness, and the shrimp's dripping and the butter's dripping, and then I could just feed it to you. That's what I do.
Just dripping off the elbows.
Dripping all off of you. Yeah.
I don't know what's better, the bread dipped in the butter or the shrimp.
I think the butter's just as good. The bread and the butter is just as good.
Me too.
God, it can't be good for you.
You know, you love using shallot.
I do. It's a milder onion, basically.
Yeah. I'd never, until I met you and started cooking with you, I never even knew that shallot was a thing.
Yeah, you just use onion?
I thought that was some like French chefs used or something.
They have them at Kroger and Walmart.
I know. You've really turned me on to shallot. So you think it's just a milder onion?
Yeah, it's a milder onion.
Yeah.
It's in the onion family.
And so what would you use if you don't have wine or don't want to use wine? Is there something you could throw in there?
Yeah, if you could find like a champagne vinegar or a wine vinegar or something like that would work, something to deglaze with. I guess if you didn't have that, you didn't want to use wine at all, maybe use a little broth or something like that. But basically it's a liquid that's going to help pull everything up off the bottom's what it does. Water would work, but you're going to dilute the flavors down if you deglaze it with that. So you're really just using something that's flavorful to get those, to get the bits to release off the bottom and then to cook down to leave its flavor. So, if I was cleaning that pan, I would just throw some water in it after I got everything out and let it deglaze and release off the bottom, and then the stuff comes right out.
But that's for cleaning.
Yeah.
It was good.
It was that was one of the ones. It was a simple recipe, not too many steps. It happens fast, and it just, I don't know, it just tastes good. I mean, there's nothing about that dish that's not good. I mean, the doctors might disagree.
Yeah, but you put that on a table with some bread.
And Tyler, you say you're allergic to shrimp, didn't you? You tried it, didn't you?
Yeah, I don't know. It's like a gray area. I think I was allergic to a lot of stuff when I was a kid, but I probably wasn't. But probably just didn't like it. But no, it was like I'm really, really good. I'm actually making it for my wife and my mom for.
Are you really? Good deal.
In a scampi form, like you were talking about, show with like a linguine or something.
See, that's what Tyler said. This would be good. That was his Italian roots coming out. This would be good over pasta. And it definitely would. It definitely would. If you wanted to serve that over pasta and make it more of something hardier. I'm telling you, for two people, that skillet of shrimp, if two people could eat all that, you're doing something.
How many shrimp do you think it was?
Well, there was 2 pounds, and they're 13 to 15 count each pound. So you had about, a little over a dozen shrimp a piece. I mean, and normally on a day, I'm good for that.
Yeah. I could do a dozen shrimp. If that's your
Half
meal.
a loaf of bread and a dozen shrimp. Shoot. All you needed is something chocolatey, like a lava cake or something.
Ooh,
with
yeah.
It. Yeah, that would have been good.
What's the one I really like that's really hard to make?
Souffle.
Chocolate souffle. Yeah.
I've never attempted that for you.
Mm-mm.
I need to see if I could do that.
I think it's really difficult. It's hard to, I never even see it on the menu most places. Yeah. Tyler, when you serve it, are you going to do like a cream sauce with your linguine or just do the butter and the shrimp over noodles?
I think I'm going to, I don't know. It's like I'm going back and forth with like the sauce itself was super flavorful. You got the king craw, you got the parsley, maybe I'll just amp up the wine a little bit to give it a little bit more of a zing and then maybe a little bit more lemon juice.
Here's what I would do, Tyler. I would cook your pasta the way you want to cook it. Take it out, drain it, throw it back in a skillet, get you a ladle of that butter, and then sprinkle it with, like, grate some fresh Romano or, Parmesan Reggiano over the top. Toss those noodles in some of that butter and some of that cheese, plate it, and then plate the shrimp over it. So your noodles already have that coating and that flavor going. They're going to be good by themselves like that, butter noodles.
Yeah.
But and it doesn't take a lot, just enough to lock in those flavors. You want to, leave your whatever you cooked your pasta in, leave that skillet pretty hot, get your noodles back in, and then it only takes like 60 seconds tossing it around. You can even sprinkle it with a little crushed red pepper to spice it up just a little bit, but it makes a really good noodle.
So you always told me that when you pull noodles, like out of the boiling water, they can soak up flavor right then.
Right. So it's a quick drain. Like drain quick, get them back over there, hit them with that butter, have it on some heat. I mean, when I make spaghetti, that's my little trick to spaghetti. I'll take my spaghetti noodles, drain them, put them back in the pot, hit them with like 2 tablespoons of butter, and then 1 ladle of whatever pasta sauce you're using. Usually it's a red sauce for spaghetti, and then start stirring it and tossing it almost like you're stir frying a little bit. And the fat from the butter kind of melts and coats the noodles, and it causes that red sauce to absorb in. So you've got this really flavorful pasta that you hadn't even put really a sauce to it yet.
It makes a big difference.
Oh, it does. It does.
It makes your noodles so much
richer.
Yeah,
flavorful. It's more flavorful.
I have to try that. Sounds good.
And you can do it, with any kind of noodle.
Any kind of
noodle.
noodles,
You can do it with fettuccine, linguine, spaghetti.
So, what is a go-to Valentine's Day recipe? Is steak the go-to?
I think it depends on the people.
Yeah.
Like for us, definitely. I think of surf and turf.
Fillets.
Like if I want to do something really, really nice for you, I'm usually going to do. Most of the time, it's going to be because you're not crazy about shrimp. Lobster.
Yeah.
So I don't do a lot of like lobster and steak, surf and turf. I do shrimp or I'll do crab. That's usually what we use for surf and turf. So a nice fillet, cooked perfect, and then either shrimp to go with it's like the shrimp and butter would go great, or just grilled shrimp, or even shrimp cocktail. I consider that surf and turf.
Definitely. Your garlic butter fillet. We shared that recipe this week.
Mm-hmm. Yes. I had some people stop me the other day and said, "Man, those steaks you cook, they look so good." And I was like, "Oh, that's an older one I did, but they were." That was with the garlic butter ones where I started drizzling it over the top and
you did like a reverse. Yeah. You let them come up slow, and then you got your butter right, and then you put those steaks over the hot coals and basted them with that garlic butter while you were doing the sear part, I guess. But the cook is so perfect when you do that reverse sear. I think it's just money.
I think so too.
You get the crustiness on the outside,
and it's a great way just to nail the doneness. You're not going to overcook it that way, and that's one of my fears with cooking fillets. And some people say I eat them too rare. I've had comments on there like, "Oh, that's blue. That's not." But that's how I like to eat my fillet. I don't want it overcooked because when you overcook it, the texture changes on and it gets kind of dry, and then it's just. Why even eat filet? I might as well be eating sirloin or something if you take it that far. You're missing out on what the filet is all about. It should be 8 on the rare to medium rare side.
That ain't blue.
I don't think so either.
Blue is rare.
Yeah, and hey,
rare.
I've done. As I'm getting older, I'm willing to eat steak at a
lower temperature.
Certain steaks, like I don't want my ribeye that temperature. I want it more medium rare to medium just because of the fat. You got to get that fat rendered. But, I don't want that big knuckle of fat in my ribeye and it's still rare because it hadn't even had time to start melting. But when you take it to where it's starting to get up there, I think the ribeye tastes way better.
What do you think the most romantic foods are? Or what are the most romantic foods to you?
Romantic foods. Oh, definitely. Oysters is one.
Yeah, oysters.
I think of oysters. I would say
chocolate.
Chocolate, definitely. That's more getting in dessert, but I guess that counts, like, a chocolatey dessert. But
shrimp is up there. Yeah, shrimp.
Steak, all the finer stuff.
Yeah. High-end falutin stuff.
Yeah. Romantic food. Spaghetti. I consider that. When I think of that, you know what I think of?
Lady in the
Tramp eating spaghetti. I was like, a shared plate of spaghetti, that could be romantic. I think it's in how you do it. You know what I mean? Like, we're going to take 2 number 7s from McDonald's and put some candles out and a bottle of wine. You get 2 cheeseburgers and fries.
That's not the worst meal I've ever had. What do you really think women want for Valentine's Day? For a gift?
I can tell you it's not chocolate hearts and roses. Like, the assorted chocolates in the heart and roses. If I had to guess, man, what would a woman want for Valentine's Day? Probably to be left alone.
That's what I was going to say. Let me sleep late.
Not have to dress up, something comfortable, some sweatpants, a nice, what do you call it? Robe, a comfy robe.
That's what I was thinking, kind of like a spa day or something.
Yeah. Spa day, something like that.
Relax. Something to relax.
I was at Walmart yesterday, and those like huge stuffed animals they sell this time of year?
Yes.
Ridiculous. I was on the phone with Ashley while I was there, and I was like, I'm so glad that you were not like one of the big stuffed monkey kind of girls, because like I don't think that's the first thing to go in the Goodwill pile when you start moving.
Yeah.
What are you going to do with that?
Oh, I thought one year, this has been a long time ago, I was working.
It was probably the first Valentine.
I was working
we
at
were
casinos.
together.
And there were some ladies that worked there. They always made these baskets up for every holiday. And there's like, oh, don't you want to get your boo one of our Valentine's baskets? And I was like, man, that would be awesome. They're putting everything in there, and I'm gonna get so many brownie points for coming home with this. And it was this big, vast basket of stuff, and it had like a bear in it, and it had chocolates in it. I think it had a bottle of sparkling Welch's grape or something. Had 2 little champagne flutes. Had some thongs. It was this giant basket of stuff, like romantic stuff.
It's like all Dollar Tree stuff.
And I brought it over.
Bubble bath.
She was like, "What is this?" I felt so bad. I thought I had done something, man. I had done something, and I spent $65 on
that. Inflation. That's like $100.
Oh yeah, that's $150, $200 basket now.
Crazy.
She was not impressed.
I said thank you. It's like,
I don't think you ever wore them thongs.
Last weekend was our chili cook-off.
It was. It went really well.
Yeah.
I didn't make it. I took Michael duck hunting.
Who was our winner?
The grill sergeants. Shout out.
Really? Shout out to the grill sergeants.
Did they win both? Because we had a People's Choice and we had a regular judge.
I want to say
grill sergeants and BBB was the winner.
Triple B,
and I forgot what that stands for. It was,
I don't know.
Yeah,
but I think that was Elizabeth, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Mark and Jamie's sister. First time she's ever entered any kind of contest, as far as I know, cooking contest, and she won with her chili. People's Choice.
Chili's a good one.
Shout out Elizabeth.
If you've never done a cooking contest, chili's a good one to get into.
What I like, so our rules were really easy. You could make that chili at home and bring it in as long as and you had to serve samples for the people. And you had to turn in a cup for blind judging. Then nobody knew what it was. So that was pretty cool. I think she did well in the regular blind judging. Didn't she do second or third in the?
Yeah, she was in both.
So that had to be the overall chili recipe there.
I told somebody I was going to cook their chili for them and let them enter because I kind of want to see how my chili would stack up.
Yeah. How many people do you think turned in Wendy's chili? We used to do that. Like it was the South Haven Spring Fest had a chili contest. I don't think I wasn't doing it, but one of the guys on the team was doing it. And he said, "Man, you can't beat that Wendy's chili. The secret is you got to get the little packets they give you, the little chili seasoning packets or whatever. And it's like this little liquid seasoning packet." So they come back and they had a Wendy's sack, 2 or 3 of the big large chilies, and then filled it up with that stuff and tasted it and warmed it up, turned it in. I think they won second. I don't know if they won first, but I think they won second.
It was second or third. It was
straight up Wendy's chili. I was like, man.
Some people overcomplicate it.
Wendy's chili ain't that good.
Yeah, it's not. Some people overcomplicate stuff and add too much,
Yeah, oh yeah.
It's a little.
There was a lot of crazy entries.
Did you get to try some of them?
Not really. I was sitting right next to where they would like drop it off after they were judged. So I was kind of like keeping an eye out, listening to people. There was one chili that I'm telling you must have had like cut up like Slim Jims in it. Like,
no way.
Weirdest looking texture, but you could see them floating around in there. And everybody, I think, kind of like took a spoon of it. And like maybe it tasted fine, but like it just was like very offsetting texture wise.
Yeah. I don't know about that. I've never put like smoked sausage or any kind of tubular meat product in my chili like that.
The judges were getting real weird with like adding stuff to get. So like after it was over, they would go back to like the best ones. That's what everybody does. And so they were like mixing some together. And so like they decided that like two of the chilies and actually both of them scored pretty high alone together would have won first place.
Right.
Which I thought was funny.
The thing with cooking contests that I've learned over my years is it's not about how great it is. It's about how well you kind of color inside the box. You know, it's how well you do the best average.
Yeah. You're trying to make something that's going to appeal to everybody and not be too fringe on anything.
Yeah.
That's usually when you do the best.
I guess there was a lot of chili cook-offs this past weekend. There was another one locally, and then I saw somebody in the community posted they had a local chili contest. They got first place with a smoked brisket chili.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Yeah.
It's definitely chilly. We're chilly weather. You thought we were spring because last week it didn't get up to like 74.
Yeah, it was real warm. Yeah. It was real windy, but real warm.
We've got a couple more weeks of chilly weather, and then
on to crawfish.
So I was in the community. There was some great stuff in the community this week, but somebody had done a smoked gumbo. Earl in the community posted a picture. He didn't post a recipe, but if you were going to do a smoked gumbo, what would you do? Just smoke the chicken or something?
Well, I'd definitely like say if it's a chicken and sausage gumbo, I'd smoke the chicken, and then I'd probably smoke the smoked sausage too, get some extra flavor on it, and use that. You could definitely do it. I mean, the hard part would be making the roux, but if you used a jar roux or you made your roux inside, just because it's on a grill, it's hard to get steady enough temp the whole time to sit there because it's going to take, it takes 45 minutes to make a good gumbo roux. At least 6 beers, standing there stirring. So that's hard to control on a grill. But once you got it all put together, you got your vegetables cooked down a little bit. They would cook down on the grill, no problem. And then you started assembling it. It would definitely come up to a simmer, and you could simmer it, bring it together on a smoker uncovered to get some flavor in it. But you're going to get more of your flavor from your meat that you put in it.
Have you ever done that? Have you ever smoked or grilled your chicken or sausage before putting it in the gumbo?
Not in the gumbo. I mean, I always put smoked sausage in a gumbo. So I was going to say, I don't think of smoked flavors when I eat gumbo, but that's not true because the smoked sausage, even if you use andouille or whatever kind of sausage you like to use in it, it has, most of the time it's been smoked. So it does get some element of it, but I just never thought of a whole pot of gumbo as being a smoky dish.
Yeah.
But I don't see why. I mean, I imagine it'd be pretty good.
I thought it was interesting.
Maybe I need to do like a crossover pulled or, like a pork gumbo or a brisket gumbo or something and try it and see. I could see it being pretty good.
What's the barbecue soup?
Brunswick stew?
Yeah, Brunswick stew gumbo.
Kind of, but Brunswick is real tomatoey, and I don't do a tomatoey gumbo. Some people, there's parts of Louisiana that add tomatoes to a gumbo. I've always been more traditional, where it's just roux and a broth that makes it, and it's all about what you could put inside it.
You need to do a gumbo recipe.
You could smoke. I'll tell you what, because I always I don't just put raw okra in my gumbo. I always either cook it in on the stovetop and try to get it de-slimed, or throw it on a baking sheet in the oven. You could probably smoke your cut okra on the smoker, draw out a lot of that slime, and then add it, and you're going to get flavor from the okra as well. So that would be pretty good.
Earl also posted he had cooked a tri-tip, but he served it with, I guess it was roasted cauliflower, and he had drizzled it with oil, garlic, mushrooms, onions, and cheese. And he said it almost has a French onion soup taste.
Huh. Was the cauliflower broke way down? I didn't.
Yeah, it was picture. It looked roasted.
Yeah,
it looked like roasted cauliflower that had been drizzled with oil and garlic, and then he topped that with mushrooms, onions, and cheese
at the end, and broiled it or something.
Yeah,
so kind of. Yeah, I bet you that's pretty good.
I mean, it might be a good way.
Cauliflower fan.
That's what I was thinking.
That's my thing. I mean, I can eat it. It's better just raw with ranch.
I do too. I think so too. I feel like it's
okay.
A worse broccoli.
Yeah, because I like broccoli.
Mm-hmm.
See, I almost felt like cauliflower, like mashed potatoes.
See, it's not. And we were on that cauliflower rice thing, trying to eat better, and I was like, man, I'd just rather not eat rice or, if I got to eat cauliflower rice.
That's how I feel about black bean burgers.
Yeah, right. I mean, I love black beans, but I don't need it in a burger patty or form or whatever you want to call it.
Those cauliflower mashed potatoes were hard to get down.
Yeah.
Like,
they're just not, yeah. I can't do it.
And you look at them and you're like, ooh, delicious mashed potatoes. And then I don't know if it's the smell or what.
Yeah, the texture and smell. It's just a whole thing going on. It doesn't work with the rice either.
But I thought if I topped them with onions and cheese and mushrooms,
it might be, yeah.
it might be a good way to eat cauliflower.
Bacon, yeah. What would you, that's Chili's Monterey chicken style. or Outback has one too. Alice Springs chicken. It's kind of like that. They put the mushroom. You put mushrooms, cheese, and a sauce on anything, you make it taste good.
Yeah, you might as well dip it in ranch then.
Yeah.
So Alan in the community for his Super Bowl recipe, he did tri-tip crostinis. You've done those several times before, but he did a cream cheese horseradish sauce. So I got cream cheese and mixed in horseradish into it and used that on his
top of the tri-tip.
No, in between the tri-tip and the crostini.
Yeah. Just made a little smear of that on there, and
I
then
thought that was a good idea.
Really, yeah, I bet it's really good. I could see that being really good.
That's one thing we've never done is used horseradish in
with
a
cream cheese.
Yeah.
Man, I like that idea.
I thought it was good too. How would you?
I would probably. I mean, you could take. You know how we'd make the horseradish sauce? It's sour cream and mayo and prepared horseradish, and so you have that base. You could just whip that in with some cream cheese. Maybe omit the sour cream, or you probably need a little bit of something to smooth it out. But you don't want it like runny, because it's not. Yeah. It's not like that cream sauce. It's more a thickness to be the cheese spread.
Yeah,
but it wouldn't be. I mean, heck, I wouldn't be scared to just take some cream cheese and whip some prepared horseradish in and try that. But I would do. I would. I mean, I'd definitely add some black pepper, a little Worcestershire, a little dash of hot sauce, all those elements of the creamy horseradish sauce. Just use the cream cheese, and then use a little bit of sour cream and a little bit of mayo to get it the right consistency when you're whipping it up. You still want it spreadable.
I say forget the sour cream.
Don't even do that?
Yeah, what mayo would you use?
Oh, Blue Plate, of course. Quality mayonnaise since 1927, the best from New Orleans and all over the South. I don't know if they have it up north. They need to. I'll tell you.
Go ahead.
Blue Plate needs to come on with it. I've been seeing these other mayonnaise brands. They've been doing national commercials. I want to see some Blue Plate national commercials.
I saw Meg Ryan and Billy Crystal.
Yeah, that's right. They're
talking some lesser mayonnaise this
like
weekend.
That's good mayonnaise. Just because they got a blue top, don't make a Blue Plate.
So I'm stuck on this horseradish. I'm sorry. I just have an idea. What if you did like a popper with that? So like you did like a horseradish, and then you got
that's an idea.
Yeah,
good beef. And I guess like you could put it in jalapeno or something like that, wrap it in bacon, but I don't know.
I could see it. I could definitely see that. I've never thought about adding horseradish to a popper.
But if you made it like all, made those flavors where it would go, because bacon goes with horseradish.
Absolutely.
Beef goes with horseradish. So maybe a jalapeno.
Yeah, or just a sweet pepper or something like that.
Oh, a sweet pepper would be better. Yeah.
That'd be really good.
I can get down with that.
You need to write that.
You got to like horseradish. That's the whole thing. And a lot of people have an aversion to it just because it is known to be hot, and it's a very nasally flavor. It runs up through those sinuses.
I didn't like horseradish until I had it prepared, the right way, like a good horseradish sauce where it's not overpowering. You just get like the flavor.
Mm-hmm.
Same thing with that horseradish sauce we make. I love it with beef, but it's not too horseradishy.
So could you take just some prepared horseradish and put it on a piece of beef and eat it like that, or would that be too strong?
That'd be too strong.
I love it. I do. I like it like that. Like prime rib. It's probably the first place I ever had horseradish was eating it with prime rib. And they would usually serve the au jus, and then they serve some horseradish on the side. It wouldn't be creamy. It would just be like a little bowl or pile of prepared horseradish.
I mean, when you order a dozen oysters and you get little horseradish and cocktail and
like in New Orleans.
Yeah. I always put just a
bump. So I like it. Well, down there they serve it. They'll serve the horseradish and then the lemons, and then they'll usually have a hot sauce and a ketchup on the table, and it's meant to make your own cocktail sauce. And so that's all cocktail sauce is ketchup, hot sauce, a little horseradish, maybe a little lemon juice. and then you make it to your liking, and then it's great on oysters. But I'm like you. I like to have it separate too, and then put a little bit. It's almost like eating a little wasabi when you eat some sushi or something. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a burn.
It's very similar. So,
what do you think that goes so good? It wakes up the senses or something, or
yeah,
because it is a rush. Like when you eat a piece of horseradish or wasabi or something, it's like it's a jolt, and
see, I feel the same way about wasabi that I do about horseradish. Like just a little bit, just to give it a little pop.
Yeah,
not enough to make me go, ooh.
Yeah, taking it to the brain.
Yeah. You like to go.
I like to dangerously.
Yeah, I do too. I want to be right on that edge. It's like if I get it, I want enough to know it's there. Like,
want to see the light.
Yeah,
Good smear of wasabi.
Yeah, we'll be eating sushi or something, and he'll just make a noise like, ah.
I got a little.
I'm like, what's wrong?
Little too much. But I like those. I don't know what it is. If it's like a pea or it's like a dried wasabi pea, have y'all seen those?
Yeah.
They're like a snack.
Mm-hmm.
Man, they're good. Now you can't, like, you're not going to eat a handful of them, but just to pop one or two of them every once in a while, it's a wake up.
It's a wake up.
Yeah.
Okay, so Will in the community had a interesting question. So he's got a local church that does a smoking competition as a fundraiser. It's kind of all for fun. It's a popular vote. It's kind of like a people's choice.
Mm-hmm.
So you got to make enough to feed all the people. He says usually brisket or pork belly wins it, but he likes to do something weird and different and, kind of a barbecue dish. So what would you recommend? He needs to hand out samples that he's wanting something nobody else would have.
Yeah.
So it's got to be something that's sampleable. Oh.
I'm trying to think. Let's see.
Some people recommended Texas Twinkies, which that's a lot of work if you're passing out samples.
Yeah.
And they also recommended Carolina Twinkies. Do you want to know what the difference between Texas Twinkies and Carolina Twinkies are?
Pulled pork and brisket.
Carolina's got pulled pork and pimento and cheese.
Oh, instead of just cream cheese?
Yeah.
Texas has beef and
cream cheese. Yeah.
I'm almost, I mean, little sliders, I know it's easy to go to, but just people like something like that, like a little sandwich.
I recommended street tacos.
So, that would be a good one too.
Because you could do anything with a street.
You could do tacos real easy. The tacos would be a good one. Little sundaes, barbecue sundaes or parfaits.
That's a good idea.
Would be good because you're giving them a lot. It's easy to do. Everything's pretty much pre-made and you're just assembling it. And you could do them pork, chicken, or beef, whatever you think people would like there. Either ways.
A little barbecue sundae would
be easy and it would probably do really well.
So what's a barbecue sundae?
It's usually like baked beans, meat, and slaw.
Kind of layered
like a parfait, and then topped with sauce and garnished with something. So you could garnish it with whatever you want. If you want to get crazy, garnish it with a burnt end and pickle. Have that stuck down in there, or something like that. That would be easy to do.
One big thing that
ribs might work, just because if you could cook them, if you could nail them. That would be something that people would like, man, they're doing ribs,
That might get expensive.
Yeah, it would, because I don't know how many samples you got to give out. And it's the same thing. You got to think about that. And that's why brisket's easy, because you cook 2 briskets and you got a ton to sample. Or you cook, what was the other one? They said that the pork belly burnt ends, you got to think every little cube's a bite. And that's probably all you're giving them is one bite.
One thing we give out a lot when we're doing stuff like that is we smoke whole chickens and then pull whole chickens because the cost is cheap, the yield is high, and we make little sliders.
Yeah, those always do good because it's always like you can do pickled red onions with it. You can top it with the white sauce. You can make a slaw that went on them, and that's why. And it's easy to eat. It's easy to sample out.
You can do tacos with the pulled chicken.
The tacos work too. A nacho, like you could do a little nacho that would work.
Barbecue nachos is a good little sampler.
That's a good one. Yeah, that's a good one to sample that people would like. And you can go either way. You can do anything that you want on that too.
Chips are cheap. The nacho cheese is super cheap.
Let's get you a machine.
The machine's expensive.
You can heat that up in the smoker.
Yeah,
I bet you could take the label off and heat the whole can up on the smoker and just dip out of the can.
When we were in where'd we go this summer? Michigan?
Yeah.
When we were in Michigan, we were doing barbecue nachos, and we didn't have a nacho machine,
Yeah.
you know?
How'd y'all warm that? Y'all just dump it in a pan and warm the cheese up and then ladle it?
And then ladled it.
Yeah.
It was a big hit.
Pig shots? That's not a bad idea. That's a good little bite that people really love, and you can make a lot of them pretty easy.
That's a really good idea, pig shots. What is a pig shot?
It's we take a round of smoked sauces. Like if you think about it, cut, I don't know, 1/2 inch thick maybe. That's the bottom of your shot cup. You wrap it with a slice of thick bacon, just enough to go around it and toothpick it so it keeps it closed. And then you just take a cream cheese mixture. Like usually I mix it with some rub and maybe a little sauce, whatever you want to put in it.
Or pimento cheese.
Or pimento cheese. And you're going to put a little bit of that down inside the cup and smoke it. And then right at the end, you top the shot with a little squeeze of barbecue sauce, vinegar sauce, whatever. And you kind of glaze the outside a little bit. And then it's one little bite. You know, you do have the toothpick. You can either remove that or leave it in it, just let people know. But it looks like a little shot glass sitting there. That's why they call them pig shots.
They're really good.
They're really good. Really good. I mean, if you don't want to get away from pork belly, but you don't want to do pork belly burn ends, you could always do pork belly tacos. And that takes a street taco to another level. Cooking pork belly where you can shred it. That meat is incredibly rich, incredibly tender, and it's fantastic, but you would probably need to cook more pork belly than you think, because once all that fat melts, it doesn't leave you with a lot. So, but it does really well.
I think it's easier to cook pork belly so it shreds than trying to do the burn ends, you know?
Or you could do pork belly like brisket. That's a great way. That's a good, it's kind of a Texas style, and you just smoke it like you do a brisket and slice it.
Have you ever done that?
I've never done a recipe on it. I've cooked it like that, but I've never done a recipe on it. There's a few out there I've seen.
Delicious.
It's good. It's really good.
So Johnny has a question. He was looking for pointers for a 5-pound brisket flat. It's a choice Angus cut. He's thinking 190 overnight, wrap it 160-ish in the morning. He said he's mainly curious if it will cook too fast and be ready to wrap before he wakes up.
Shouldn't at those low temps. You're going to get...
It's 5-pounder.
Yeah, around 200 degrees, you're probably going to get 6 to 7 hours before it needs to be wrapped, I guess, that low. So you could definitely set your alarm, get up early, check on it. But I wouldn't be scared to do that at all, especially if it wasn't wrapped. Like you're going to wait and wrap it. And then, because when you wrap it, it's probably only going to take it like an hour and a half. It'll be pretty fast once you get that wrapped.
What if what if that's your plan, but you overslept and it just didn't get wrapped?
As long as it didn't get overcooked, it'll be fine. But if it overcooks, there ain't no bringing anything back once it's overdone. You might as well chop it, But it should be fine. I mean, that's still like cooking a 5 to 6 pound flat at 200, 190, 200 degrees. You're still looking at an 8-9 hour cook. It's slow, It's not a fast cook at all.
And would you have to wrap it at all?
Always wrap with overnighters at the end anyway, just to let them set and rest all happy, instead of just, I'm definitely not going to cut it. And I do definitely want to put it in something and let it get a good rest. So yeah, I'm still going to wrap it. And usually on my overnighters now, when I do them, I wrap them. So like he's talking about, when you get up and then I let them finish out and then I just hold them and they're ready to eat, right at lunchtime or a little after.
So Kyle, he has leftover brisket point. It's in this fridge. How would he take leftover cold brisket point and make burn ends with it?
It's not, I'm assuming it's a whole point.
Yes.
That's easy. Just cube it up when it's cold. Reseason it, put it on the pit. You drizzle it with sauce once it starts, after about 30, 40 minutes, drizzle it with sauce. I'd probably cover the pan a little bit just to get some steam on it, let them really get good and hot, and then uncover it and let it tack up, and that's it.
When you cube it, you're just going to go straight into a pan?
Yeah, like aluminum pan, aluminum half pan, all the cubes. It's going to heat up. Some of that fat's going to start melting because most of that brisket point's fatty. You're going to end up with some liquid in there, but reseason it while it's cold. Get it back on the pit, let it start warming up, drizzle it with sauce, gently toss it a little bit so everything's coated. Throw some foil on it, let it cook, a little bit. Because, it's already fully cooked. You're not having to take it too long. So this is only going to take hour and a half probably to get back right. That's a super easy way to do burn ends.
I bet they would be good, too. Oh, yeah.
After they've been sat there and flavors developed overnight in the fridge, and they'd be really good.
Okay. So my goal is to bring up the Camel enough that you're forced to have to cook it.
I saw that camel steak.
Greg cooked
Texture
camel.
looked a little like, I was like, man, why does it look like that when you slice it? Have you ever seen people smoke watermelon? Have y'all seen that?
Yes.
It looks like a cross cut of that smoked watermelon.
It looked.
Don't sleep on camel.
That's what he said. Don't pass on the camel.
Don't pass on the camel.
He said it tasted great. He seasoned it with AP and steak
What's it
rub.
taste like?
We can find out. You can answer that question yourself. He seasoned it with AP and steak rub, took it to 125, let it rest.
I'm down.
No, you're not.
Camel.
And then David said that he has a use for cheese whiz. He says, take 3 eggs, 2 boxes of Jiffy cornbread mix, and 1 jar of cheese whiz. Mix it up and cook it in the oven just like you would.
Yeah. So it's like a cheesy cornbread?
Yeah. Or a cornbread casserole.
What else was in it? Jiffy mix and what? Eggs?
3 eggs, 2 boxes of cornbread mix, Jiffy cornbread mix, and 1 jar of cheese whiz.
We're trying that.
I would kind of want to try that too.
I did too when I saw it.
Did you try it?
No, I was just thinking I want to try
Well, why would, you could add peppers, like a can of green chilies or diced jalapenos, or
He said you can add pickled jalapenos.
Yeah, I would think that would work.
Heck
And
yeah.
maybe even some whole kernel corn. And then you've got a Mexican cornbread. We're trying that.
Cheesy Mexican cornbread.
But see, then my brain starts doing what it was doing last week, where I'm like, but then what if it was nacho cheese?
Yeah.
So do you have to heat the cheese up, or do you just stir it in the batter? So you're basically just making this batter?
Yeah. I mean, I guess you could.
I guess the cheese whiz is taking the place of your liquid and your fat. Because normally, you make cornbread, you got to add some fat.
We should do like a side-by-side comparison. One with cheese whiz, one with nacho cheese.
For science.
Equal amounts.
Equal
And
amount.
it's just the regular jar like we had.
It said 1 jar of cheese whiz, yeah.
Okay.
Seems easy.
Challenge accepted. Cheese whiz cornbread.
But I do want to add the pickled jalapenos to it.
Cheese.
He said don't add the juice from the jar, just the peppers.
Yeah, that would make sense. You don't need the extra liquid. Cheesy cornbread whiz. What you call it? Cheesy corn whiz. Bread. I don't know what you call that, but I'm down. That sounds crazy enough for me to try.
And Emery found some party stacker coolers at his local Ingles.
What is it? Is Ingles like a hardware store or something? Or
I think it's like a
Canadian. I think I saw in the comments or something like that.
I think
How
it's
much
like
were
a grocery
they?
store. $33.98.
That went up. They have went up in price. That's $13 more than I'd like to pay for them. You can't get them anymore, man. He's lucky. I just grabbed all of them. I bet he could put them on eBay.
He said he got 2.
Yeah.
Um,
Somebody's bringing. We're going to talk about those enough to where somebody brings them back. Somebody's going to bring back the party stacker.
We're going to get Blue Plate up north, and we're going to get the party stackers back down here.
Yeah, that's right. The How to Barbecue Right podcast is brought to you by our friends at Primo Grills. Shell, did you know that Primo is the only ceramic grill made right here in the good old USA?
What? Are you telling me that Primo Grills are proudly crafted here in the USA, ensuring top-notch quality and support for local craftsmanship?
I sure am. Plus, Primo Grill not only delivers mouth-watering flavor, but because of their innovative oval design and superior ceramic construction, Primo Grills also gives you a ton of cooking versatility.
Whether you're smoking low and slow or searing a steak to perfection, Primo Grills gives you the consistent heat distribution for mouth-watering results every time.
What she said, y'all. Y'all visit primogrill.com and check them out.
So Brian, he smoked some cream cheese.
It's the best way to eat cream cheese.
He says he took it to the next level.
Okay.
So you did a bacon jam.
Yeah.
And it was delicious. So you made your onion bacon jam, you smoked your cream cheese, and then
Topped it.
Yeah. It was great. He smoked his cream cheese, seasoned it with Old Bay, and then topped it with lump crab and then hot sauce.
That would be good.
I think it
Especially
would
if
be
you
really good.
took that lump crab and put it in a little melted butter, like before I put it on top of a filet, and then put that over there and maybe squeeze some lemon over it and hit it with a little herb.
Little.
You've got a crab dip, like, you know what I mean? That's just begging to put on a cracker or a chip or something. And you didn't mix it all up and combine it. It's just kind of a loose made, deconstructed hot crab dip. I bet that is so good.
What do they call that crab dip topping for steaks? It's
Oscar?
Crab Oscar.
Yeah. It's not a dip. It's just lump crab and butter with a little lemon. And
I thought it was a great idea. I was like, ooh.
I would do that for sure. Oh, I bet that is really good.
Put that one on the list.
Yeah, I'm going to borrow that one.
Today's a brainstorming kind of day.
It is.
Yeah.
That's just one I want to eat.
Me too. That's a Valentine's Day recipe right there.
Cream cheese Oscar.
Cream cheese Oscar. So Mike wants to know if he's going to smoke a half slab of ribs. So he bought some ribs when they were on sale, and to store them easier, he went ahead and cut them in half.
Half the rack,
so he could store them easier. Now he's going to cook them, pulling them out of the freezer and cooking them. Should he change his cooking times?
No, not necessarily. It does change them a little bit when you cut them up into what I call party ribs, individual bones. That's an option too. But a half rack.
Ooh, party ribs.
Yeah, that's a good way to do those, really. I mean, if I had a half one, I'd probably do them like that if I just want to cook a few ribs. But if you're just cooking half racks, I mean, it's not going to change the time. I would, you're still cooking to color and you're still wrapping to tenderness. It's going to be about, you're looking when you wrap them, hour 15. Instead of being like hour and a half, hour 45, it might be hour 15 or an hour, depending on the temp. But it's not going to change them that much. And same with like party ribs, when you're cooking them, usually, when I did them on a Weber. And so the temp's a little higher because it's closer to the fire. So those things are cooking a little faster. But it will cook about the same. You're not going to notice that much difference. There's nothing wrong. Like I recommend people cut them up. People say they buy a whole big rack of ribs and they got a small smoker, they won't fit in it. Well, just cut them in half. I tell people to do that all the time.
As long as you do it before you start cooking.
Yeah. It's going to fit in your smoker. Some people don't have a rack that'll fit a whole rack of ribs on it, so you got to divide them up. And even oftentimes, like, when we do contest or used to do contests and stuff, we were trimming ribs down small. I mean, they're not a half rack, but probably 3/4 of a rack.
What y'all used to call them, poodle ribs? Labradoodle ribs?
Labradors.
Because they were so little.
Yeah, it was like a little, but they were cut for the box.
Yeah.
It wasn't like, we were taking loin back ribs and trimming the tops and trimming the bottoms a little, and you ended up with this little bitty, almost look like riblets or something, but it's a little pretty rack, and they fit in the box perfect.
Well, it allowed y'all to get like 3 rows.
3 or 4 rows of small ribs. It ain't my favorite way to do it. I think it's wasteful, but you try to do when you try to win something.
That was kind of the trend back then.
Yeah. They still do those cut down ribs a lot of times in the MBN contest. You don't see it in KCBS. You mainly see the spare ribs, St. Louis cut.
So Greg, he's looking for any ideas on how to smoke buffalo. He has some steaks, he has some loins, and he's wondering about temperatures and seasonings. And
you cook them the exact same way you cook beef. If you can do it to a steak or a beef roast or anything like that, that buffalo is going to cook the exact same way. The only difference is it doesn't have as much fat. Fat content's really low. It's really lean. So it does better. 2 ways to cook it. You cook it like a steak. You're going to cook to medium rare, probably no more than, I wouldn't go no more than medium. But if you want to cook something further like that, like it's a larger cut roast or something that's going to be, that needs a good long cook, I would braise it. So think of it like cooking like a brisket. You're going to put some smoke on it. You're going to get it wrapped, you're going to get it in a pan with a little liquid or in some foil with a little bit of liquid. It's going to create kind of a braising environment, and you're going to cook it longer till it breaks down. There's no like middle ground for me. There's no middle ground for beef either, but I'll either want to eat it towards that medium rare, or I want to take it way past breaking down and getting all, till it's shreddable. And so, like I said, we've got some ossobuco cuts, which is just shank, cross sections of a shank. And they do really great. I think Mark cooked some last night, and he called me and told me, he's like, man, you ain't going to believe how good these were. I just cooked them in a crock pot. But he browned them a little bit, threw it in so if you're browning it, you could smoke it. That's getting some color on the outside, getting some flavor going. Then you're moving it to your vessel that you're going to get your long cook in. His was a crock pot, but you could do it in a pan. You could do it in aluminum foil. He added onions and herbs and different stuff like that and just cooked it until it was falling apart. And he said the bone, like on these shanks, they have a lot of marrow still in that shank bone. He said it was better than any kind of beef bone marrow that he said it was like a buttery, rich, seasoned up, and it made that whole dish so good. And he said the meat just fell apart, and he served it thing with mashed potatoes. And so it's almost, not pot roasty, but kind of, what I mean? It didn't have all I guess you could put whatever vegetables you wanted in there with it. But I'm fixing to cook some. That's going to be my next thing I cook.
How long did he cook them in the crock pot?
He said he put them on overnight.
Okay.
When he got up the next morning, he said they were almost soft, but he's like, they needed to keep going. So instead of turning that crock pot off, he said, I just turned it down to warm and left it all day till they ate dinner and they got home from work that night. And he said it was like his mother-in-law said she'd never ate anything like that. And it was bison. So, I can't wait to try them.
Every time I've had like that ossobuco or shanks like that, to me, it's better than like pot roast. It's the flavor's better, the texture's better.
So beef oxtails, beef cheeks, ossobuco or shank, all that's similar texture-wise and when you get it cooked-wise. And it's even like short ribs, same thing. It's just the richest, best silky mouthfeel, just meaty, and it's so much better than like regular old chuck roast or something like that.
Yeah, totally.
Like pot roast.
Yes.
But I would treat it like you season it. Anything that you can do to beef, you can absolutely use on that bison. And the steaks cook just like a beef steak too. Like we've done the bison ribeyes, and they, I've cooked them and people couldn't tell the difference than that and the beef.
Seasoning, keep about the same.
Before we move on, you remember last year we were cooking that Beast and Brews in Senatobi, and I had those guys arguing with me that there's no way that was bison, that they swore up and down. And those were just bison steaks that I'd got from Mossy Oaks Gamekeeper Butchery. And it is like, you can't tell when it's cooked. The texture of it is just like beef.
Well, you're a good cook too. They might have had people
just didn't overcook it.
Yeah, exactly.
Good at not overcooking it.
I feel like it's richer in like a good way. Like, like it does not have a flavor. You can't really tell, but if you're looking for it, like it's just like a beefier beef. If that makes sense.
Yeah, I agree with that.
100%. A lot of game, like not in a bad way, but it has a gamey taste to it, And I enjoy the gamey taste in some stuff, but in bison,
there's no game.
Yeah. There's none of that, like, this is wild game kind of flavor.
Just richness.
And there's no like lamminess, or how lamb has that weird.
I love that
lamb
wanginess.
Flavor. Yeah, there's none of that.
I mean, it can get too wangy, but I do love that
lamminess. I don't know how to describe that.
Wang?
Yeah, I guess you call it wang. I don't know.
Lamb wang?
Sound appetizing. I like that lamb wang.
Something about it just.
I like my lamb not wang.
So Greg, he had a question. When you buy a rib roast and cut it down into steaks to, store it and package it, he was wondering, should he salt them before he vacuum seals it?
No.
He was thinking it might help it dry brine.
Yeah, I wouldn't put anything on it like that before I package it up.
What would be the reasoning?
Just because I don't want to draw out any of the moisture that's in it.
That's what I would be afraid of.
Once you put salt on it, it's going to start. I always say it starts the cooking process. What it does is starts the drying it out process.
It's going to pull too much moisture, and I don't want moisture in my vacuum seal.
Yeah, no, you don't want to do that. You don't want to put anything on it like that.
Cut it, vacuum seal it straight.
If you want to just be a really, really good eating steak, I wouldn't do anything to it. I would just get it froze as quick as possible.
Because I don't want moisture in my vacuum seal. I told you last night my ideal kitchen will have a vacuum sealer in the pantry.
Yes,
like ready to go. Not
you have to drag it out every time.
Yes, because right now you got to get down on your knees and wiggle it out.
Put it on its side. Goes in an upper shelf under there. They're handy, but you don't want them in sight all the time. It's not like you're going to leave it out on the kitchen counter. So you need a place for it without having to drag it out.
If you had this house by yourself, no kids, no wife, would you keep a vacuum sealer on the counter? It'd be a rice cooker, a vacuum sealer,
blender,
can opener.
Everything. Food processor.
Just be
everything that I keep put up, crock pot, stay out.
Call it your cooking showcase.
It would just be appliances.
I could see you getting like a cabinet, like you do a KitchenAid mixer, where like you
the
open
garage
it up and it comes up,
yes.
yeah, and the food processors on that. I think that would be.
Yeah,
I guess it'd have to be kind of a big cabinet, but
I guess it depends on the size. Y'all have a chamber vac one.
it's like you remember your grandma's had those old microwave carts that would roll? You need one of those for it so you could roll it out and use it. Because the chamber vac's pretty good size. I mean, it's,
It's the size of
I'm trying to.
your indoor smoker.
Yeah, it is. It's the size of a microwave, a small microwave.
Yeah, I would say so.
And you don't use it every day, but when you do use it, it's handy to have it out. Because, the chamber vac, that jugger weighs 75, 80 pounds. It's a load.
But it works. I love it. Well, that's really all I have for you today.
We're going to some warm weather. You don't want to talk about that?
No, you can talk about that.
Me and Shane are getting on a plane tomorrow and going to the beach, and we're going to be gone, but we'll be back next week to do a podcast, right?
Yeah. We're going to come back and do the podcast.
All right.
We're going to Mexico.
We're going for research purposes.
Annual R&D.
We've got an executive meeting scheduled.
An annual R&D meeting.
Yeah, it's annual.
And my plane took me to the wrong beach.
Yeah, you're going somewhere too, right?
Yeah, I'll be in Naples, Florida. So if you're in the area.
Hey, that's still pretty nice.
That's right, I'll take it. I bet the weather's nicer than here.
Yep, my wife and kids are there right now, and she was FaceTiming me this morning. It was 85.
Ooh.
So when I got to pack my bags, I just got to pack shorts and Hawaiian shirts for the whole week. So
Heck yeah.
That's always nice.
I've already got my suitcase packed. I'm sitting on go.
It takes you 20 minutes to pack.
I need a couple pairs of swimming trunks, a couple pairs of regular shorts, a couple shirts to go to dinner in.
Some Copenhagen.
And that's it. That's it. I'm good to go.
That's exactly what I did last night. It was the same thing. My wife took all night packing for the.
Oh, Shell's been packing for 2 weeks. You got it down, though. You've got everything ready to go almost, don't you?
See, the older I get, the more prepared I am for trips. Because it used to be I wouldn't go to bed till like 2 or 3 o'clock
the night we were leaving. Yeah.
Because I was still running around trying to get everything done. I'm done with that life.
Yeah. You've gotten wiser in your older age.
More organized.
Mature age. I say older.
I prefer older than mature.
Do you?
Mature sounds.
Well, what do we got going on in the community, Tyler?
Hey guys, so right now on facebook.com/group/H2Q community, that's also our Let's Get to Cooking community, we're having a giveaway and we're asking to see what you're cooking for your Valentine. And I say cooking for it. If y'all are going out to eat, you can more than welcome to share that as well. But you head down to the comments of that pinned post at the top of the group and comment that picture. And then after you're done that, make sure you go vote on everybody else's stuff because I think we're picking 1st through 5th place. 1st through 5th place will get a prize. The number 1 comment picture with the most likes is the winner. So we're going to get all those in the categories. That ends on February 21st.
Well,
yeah, we'll be
long, so y'all get those in.
We'll be doing contests all year long in the community.
Give everybody a chance to win something. All you got to do is participate.
Yeah, we got to find some more big prizes. Last year we gave away a couple grills.
We've got some coming. Right.
Good.
Mm-hmm.
What else did we give away? I know we gave away a Primo last year.
Primo Grills, ThermoWorks products, stuff like that.
Okay.
So if you have a barbecue company and you're listening to this and you're interested in giving away, email me at tyler@howtobbqright.com.
We'd love to give away your stuff.
Heck yeah.
Just let us know.
All right. Well, Shell, tell them where they can find us.
If you'd like to connect with Malcom, it's HowToBBQRight on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, and of course, YouTube. If you'd like to connect with me, it's Miss Southern Shell on Instagram and TikTok.
All right. Well, we hope you and your Valentine has a great week, and we will be back next week to talk more barbecue.
I forgot about Doug's winter party.
Oh, hold on. Wait a minute. This is very important. This is a critical update. If you don't have anything going on, when is it?
I have no idea. It's February 15th.
Oh, February 15th.
But you were going to do a recipe for Doug's winter party.
I wanted to do Doug's winter party tip, and I didn't get a chance to before we had to go out of town. But just to let everybody know, Doug's winter party is going to be this Saturday, I guess, February 15th. Then you could go online and see what all.
Yeah, some old man had a neighbor, was inviting everybody to a neighborhood party, and somehow it went viral, and now
everybody's going to Doug's winter party.
Everybody's going to Doug's winter party.
I don't even know where it's at, do you?
I know.
But anyway, appreciate y'all hanging out with us today. We will be back next week to talk more barbecue. We gone.